I wanted to talk about my Zoom call today. I was in a video call with a gentleman, and I will tell you, 44 minutes is just not long enough when you're in good conversation. And it kind of happens to us every time we have a meet, and time cuts off when we're kind of least expecting it, especially this time. Because I looked at the clock and said we have about 20 more minutes, and I totally misjudged it because we only had like 2 or 3. And so I was not expecting it to cut off, but I have a terrible concept of time. So we were talking, and the thing is this is not just him and I's conversation. This is a very, very common conversation I have with many people, and certainly many people that are coaches have it with their clients or their people that they give guidance to. But the thing is we talked about, how a lot of trauma is caused from religion. And that's where a lot of people kind of distance themselves and kind of, they don't necessarily believe in it. And to not believe in religion, totally acceptable. But the thing is there is a greater being. And that's where we all come from. And that's what I kind of want to talk about. So first of all, trauma. How many people have been traumatized from mankind religion and enforcement of beliefs? I try to encourage it with my children, but I never forced them to. If they chose not to, I honored that self-will because that is their choice, not my choice. But the one thing I want to talk about is God. So many people don't believe in God, and that's because in traditional religion is where it's traumatized people, is because they've told them and forced them to believe a certain way. So that is your number one red flag. God will never force you to believe in anything. You are given self-will, which is your own choice to believe in whatever you believe in. So, if anything's enforcing you to believe a certain way, that is not God. The other thing is God is unconditional love. God is endless forgiveness. God is a high vibrational energy. So to say, I don't believe in God is saying, this is what I hear, I don't believe in unconditional love. I don't believe in forgiveness. And I don't believe in high vibrations. When you yourself is a vibration, your heart space is a vibration. So you're saying you don't believe in yourself. Well, the thing is because so many people have been traumatized and indoctrinated and conformed to believing God is a man in the clouds, and if you don't believe, you're going to go to heaven or hell, or you're going to go to hell. And so it's traumatized people because that is their whole state of being that they're depending their whole life on and how to be. So it's a wonder why people don't believe, because that is not a true statement. That should be your second red flag. First red flag is if they tell you you have to believe a certain way. The second red flag is you're going to hell. Well, heaven and hell is a state of consciousness, not a place you go to. And it is not based on whether you believe or not. It actually has everything to do with your vibration in that heart space. So, when you're high vibrational, you believe in that unconditional love. You believe in that forgiveness. It puts you at a higher state of vibration in your heart space, which therefore puts you in a place of heaven. When you decide, I don't believe in love or unconditional love, and I don't believe in forgiveness, it puts you at a lower state of consciousness, which puts you in hell. So any one person can fluctuate from heaven to hell as much as they self-will choose to, not because of their belief system, is because the fluctuation within their vibration. So, believing in something like a man in the clouds, well, if you don't believe, I get it. That's not what God is. God is unconditional love. God is forgiveness. And God is high vibrations, which put you at a heaven state of consciousness. So, it's not about what to believe, how to believe, where you're going to go. That is all indoctrinated. That is all conformity to install fear in you. And the thing is what is fear? A low vibration. So what does fear do? Keep you in hell. It keeps you in a lower state of consciousness. When you stop fearing and you understand that it's just love, not just, that's a big deal. But when you understand it's unconditional love and you understand that it's forgiveness, in your heart space, it raises you to that higher state of consciousness. So, at your self-will, you can choose to go to heaven or hell at will, at any time. And it can fluctuate. It just depends on your vibration and your heart space. So it was such a beautiful conversation and allowing him to understand the truth. And I'm not here to change your belief system. That would not be God. That would not be love. You have that self-will. I'm here to help you understand that traditional religion has traumatized, conformed, and indoctrinated so many people in the way they are supposed to believe when it's not truth. I explained to them that people, men or women, demonstrate and say, I am a woman or a man of God, but they treat people poorly, they speak to people poorly. That is not God. That is not unconditional love. That is not forgiveness. But people that are man or woman of God, so a man or woman of unconditional love, a man and woman of forgiveness, they treat and speak to people with kindness and with the unconditional love, and they give them forgiveness. So true men and women of unconditional love and forgiveness don't state it. They just be it, if that makes sense. And you can tell the way, again, they speak to people, how they treat people. So many people have literally been traumatized because of traditional religion that it's caused such a havoc within their life and kept them in this fear and this low vibrational state for their whole life. And then we kind of talked about when you go through an awakening. And I'm going to make another video on that because we're already 8.5 minutes in. But usually when you have an awakening is when you start realizing and awakening to the truth of what God is in heaven and hell. And the real experience you choose for yourself. I'll have to continue another video.